He got killed by an avalanche. That's why he's dead.
Yeah. He's dead. I just wanted an excuse to have a gingerbread man with a lot of icing on him. So I made him an avalanche guy.
I don't know, I guess when I'm feeling joy, I feel like my heart's gonna explode. I just feel like a feeling inside. Deep feeling.
I would define joy as something that's consistent and that's within ourselves.
Joy is a little bit more spontaneous than happiness is. It's very, very powerful.
You can feel so much joy that it hurts.
I think it's more impactful. You remember joyous moments better than just when you're just happy.
It's like when you're climbing the mountain, you're definitely not always happy when you're slipping and falling and maybe covered in mud, but you're not sad, you have joy. And then happiness is like that moment when things are going good and everything's working out at the top.
So, like, I was joyful when I got adopted, but I was also happy. But I'm always joyful that I was adopted, even if I'm super angry at my parents.
I sort of define joy as like the extreme end of the happiness spectrum, so it's the most happy you could be. When you are happy, there's sort of like a content happy, and it sort of ranges from being content to being joyful, being the extreme part of happiness. I definitely think it depends on how you see the world, how you experience joy.
When life is easy, that's often when I'm the most self-centered and thinking like, oh, I'm doing a good job, I have a good life, my life is awesome. I don't know, but it's more on me, and that's when I'm not joyful because I'm centered on me.
There's quite a few people in this world who've not been in a good place, but they've always sort of seen the bright side of life and have gotten through that, maybe with their optimistic disposition.
Last year, I was definitely not that happy. We had a really hard year in our community. We had 10 people die, and it was a really tragic time. So I wasn't happy, for sure. Like, you're not happy when there's all that sadness. But what kept me going was my inner joy and my relationship with God and my relationship with others. To me, that's the inner joy. It's not something I was trying to get. You know, I wasn't trying to be happy. You know, there's when you're mourning or you're sad, you're not trying to be, it's not a time to be happy.
God, like, gives you a joy that if you, in Him, like, you can always be joyful. A lot of people's, their joy comes around their family and just that. But, like, if all your family were to be taken away from you, what else could you be joyful about? Like, you could be happy with them, but you can still be joyful even if they're gone.
You can have joy, but to have, I think, true joy and joyfulness in life and in living, you have to think of that like childlike, not fake, not for anyone else. That is joyfulness. And I think that a lot of people who maybe have everything on the surface have lost the ability to feel that kind of joy. I think if your quality of life tends to not be good, it's very hard to find the positive.
I think some people are more prone to, depressive thoughts and tendencies and periods, and that makes it very difficult for them to experience happiness or joy.
As humans, I think it's important for us to experience joy and to look for that joy in the little things, and sometimes, you're at a point where you can't.
On a regular basis, whether or not I take joy in things or experience moments of joy, fairly consistently, I would say probably not.
I do think that there are people in this world who don't have that baseline kind of positivity. And that's because of various factors. It might be because of themselves, it might be the things in their environment.
Depression is like a leech. It's not just a leech of happiness and joy, though. It takes away most strong emotions, at least in my experience. It's a very empty feeling. And it's rather scary.
And I definitely think that for people who are suffering from depression and stuff, finding the joy in life is tough.
As someone who's had depression, joyfulness did go away for me for a long time. And I'm lucky in that I'm starting to get joyfulness back now. That's partly because I've taken a break from things that were stressing me, and I'm lucky to have the resources to be able to do that, but a lot of people can't.
It might take a really harsh thing from the outside or any kind of occasion or a situation to take that joy away from you.
But my little brother Mark, he is 15 now. He has autism, what most people would call severe autism. He also has self-injurious behaviors. There were days where he would hit or pinch himself, hundreds of times. It's not fun, and it's not conducive to happiness whatsoever.
If the world could just be 5%, we could all be 5% more joyful or happier, I think violence would go down enormously. I mean, doing something that small, the world would be very, very different and in a much more altruistic way. So happiness is not selfish.
I feel like the active way of obtaining joy is a lot more satisfying in that you get to control what you do in your life.
I think if you're following your dreams, that's something that I know for me has made me more joyful.
Be open, and if there's something, whether it be, like I was saying, my children or family, or it could be nature, or it could be faith, and you're drawn towards that, to just keep going.
But choose something that makes you feel good about yourself.
You have all your friends with you, and you can be more joyful of that.
Start small. Maybe you won't work all the way up to that wild, childlike joy, but try to be happy more. Try to look for things in your life that make you happy, make you feel safe, and make you feel at peace.
Get out and do some things that you've never done before, things you've always wanted to do. Surround yourself with positive people, people who value your friendship.
There's some concrete things that I like doing. I like watching films, watching YouTube videos and TV shows. I like talking to my parents, and I love talking to my friends. I even love doing my homework.
Practice gratitude in a more deliberate way. So practicing gratitude is something that you can learn to do. You learn your multiplication tables, because we actually have a natural tendency, our brains have a natural tendency to focus on potential threat and what's negative. At one point, a long time ago in our evolution, that served us well, right? To pay attention to the negative. The problem is that today, when we have lots of negative information easily accessible, but we still have these brains that made sense 200,000 years ago, and so we're still attracted to, oh gosh, that's scary, I'm going to pay attention to it, oh, that's bad news, So I have to bring the positive a little bit more to the forefront and deliberately create rituals to do that, such as, before going to bed at night, you list 3 things that happened. And that's the practice behind grace, saying grace as well, So it's saying, okay, what are we grateful for? But to do that every day makes a huge difference.